welcome back to Galactic Reviews. And this week we watched DC's newest movie, Blue Beetle. I didn't hate it, but I didn't like it either. Um, there's just a whole bunch of stuff they could have done more with the character instead of the way they went with it, in my opinion. Because this is somewhat an established character in the universe, and this is the third iteration that we know of in this universe. So I think they could have done more with the character than what they did, in my opinion, with it. Some of the family I found to be insufferable, and I'll get to that later. Just found their characters annoying to some degree. I thought the guy who played Jaime, I thought he did good. He was one of the better parts of the movie. I thought the cinematography was all right. I thought the way they handled I thought the way the suit looked in accordance with his character and the way it's usually portrayed, it looked fine to me. It wasn't incredibly off except for one part, and that one part I know kind of why they weren't able to put it in. I can figure out why it would have been difficult for them to do. So this was probably one of the easier ways to do it. But yeah, I think it's on par with films like with the film kind of like Black Adam. It was a mixed bag, much like Black Adam. In my opinion, it was much like that kind of movie. It was just a mixed bag of everything that you could have gotten with this character. Yeah, I'll go ahead and start off with a 4 out of 10. I know we're probably going to be talking about it, considering I think I'm going to be the one that ranks as the lowest. And I think I've already talked to Zach, and I kind of know where he's going to put his ranking. And I'm thinking Andrew probably liked this film. Not loved it, but probably liked it. So if I had to guess.
I thought this movie was so bad. I thought this movie was so bad.
Okay,
Oh my goodness.
I have never been more wrong in my life. I did not see that coming.
The team that made this movie, it feels like you gave people that had kind of like a working knowledge and like of the technical skills on how to make a movie, but not any of the actual experience of making a movie. So like all the shots seem right and the cinematography was decent and the CGI was good. The writing was so bad and the plot was so predictable. And I don't really want to jump to blaming the actors for their portrayal of things because I know a lot of it has to do with how they're directed to portray. But oh my goodness, some of the characters were hard to watch. And I did not enjoy watching this movie other than every once in a while being like, this is so bad. 3 out of 10.
All right. I rather enjoyed this movie, to be perfectly honest with you. I can understand where it's kind of redundant, but then again, that's just how all these superhero movies are, and I said that to Payson while we were there. At this point, I want a superhero movie where the superhero dies at the end and loses and fails. Give me one of those. Because honestly, all these plots are the same thing. It's boring, it's redundant, but I still thought this movie was pretty decent. Or a DC movie. I thought it was pretty good. One of my favorite ones. Um, that's why I'll rate it probably a 7.5 um, out of 10. Um, I thought it was actually pretty pretty good. I don't know much about Blue Beetle. I will agree there were quite a few characters in moments where I was kind of cringing at some of the characters and their decisions and how they were acting. But then again, we dealt with bad scripts before with Spider-Man, Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man, and he did a great job. So the actors did a good job in this movie. It was just kind of a redundant script. The action scenes were enjoyable. The premise was somewhat enjoyable. But yeah, at this point, superhero movies have just kind of been grown stale to me. And yeah, that's pretty much where my opinion lies with this.
As far as superhero movies go, I think that mainly is because they've all of a sudden become more cliche instead of trying to actually
Well, yeah.
do something with the character. They've kind of decided to it seems like they've more so created this outline and they're just following said outline in order to make a movie instead of trying to do something with the character that would veer outside of that. And I don't know if
Yeah.
that could be just how they're being forced to do it, either by different all different kinds of different things, either be that by the publishers or the um, media company that kind of governs them, or if it's just the director's choice. I don't know. But that's what it kind of seems to be. It's more so been the case with Marvel, but DC's kind of now seemingly gone that same route.
As I said, I just think we need to, at this point, do what we did with the cowboy movies. Just put a halt on it, find something else to fill that blank, do
Did you say
that
the
for the next
cowboy
few
movies?
years. Yeah, because originally it was cowboy movies in America. We had
Mhm.
all these cowboy movies, and then they stopped, switched to action movies, and then switched to superhero movies.
Yes,
They
this
need to
is
go back and
Repeat
do
the
something else
cycle.
because yeah,
go
it's
back to cowboy movies.
go
They've
back to
had their break
something.
long enough.
Go back to something because honestly, they've hit their plateau with superhero movies, I think.
Well, I think on top of that, not only have I would agree to some extent that they've hit their plateau. I still think that there's more that they could do. I just think all that
Yes.
they've done has been poorly done because they're trying to hit that plateau again instead of move on and try to do something else with this. They're trying to hit that same plateau. And I think
Yeah,
that
I can
has
understand that.
become I think that has become the problem with these superhero movies and shows, along with oversaturation of it. Because it's been
Yeah.
one company did it really well. And not saying that it hasn't been done well before. DC and the animated shows and movies have been doing really good behind the scenes of live act, and their live action stuff has not been as good on par with that stuff until more recently, where the animation stuff seems to be hitting these same sort of points as the live action now. So, and the animated stuff has been going on a
Yeah.
lot longer than I would say the live action stuff even came out or did that plateau.
Yes, but with
So,
that they have a bit more free reign because that's mostly TV shows. And even with the movies, you can you have a little bit more control over it because you can do a little bit more. It doesn't cost as
yeah.
much, I suppose you could say, to do live action stunts rather than just animate it.
Well, then on top of that, some things look better in animation than they do in live action, and that can be seen a lot with. I want to say some of that
Oh,
stuff can be seen in this movie. To be fair, because this is a character that has been shown in comic books and animation, and has been shown decently well in both those aspects. But in this, he's shown all right, but not shown great. If that makes sense, he feels somewhat limited to the live action aspect of what they can do.
I can understand. I can get that.
So, and I think that's true of most of these superhero movies. So, yeah, back to Blue Beetle. So, Andrew, could you get more specific into what you disliked about it? Because I'm gonna
So
be curious.
I
I'm
didn't
curious if we both hit the same notes on
I
this one.
didn't hate this movie. Like it wasn't that I didn't enjoy this movie. It's that I don't think it's a good movie. And I separate those. Like it was fun. It had some funny parts. It had good action scenes. It kind of fit the formula of a very basic superhero introduction movie. That could be a part two. That could be a one off. It fit it. It was not unenjoyable. That does not make it a good movie. The writing was very like 2D. The characters, most of the characters seem super like surface level, very basic personalities, no depth.
Yeah,
Uh,
I would argue that the only one that would probably not be that is Miguel from Cobra Kai, Jaime. I think that's the only one that didn't seem that
yeah,
much of just a surface level
um,
bland character.
I
Even
think
then, just
they
barely.
tried so hard to be inclusive, not even to be inclusive, but to be like representing of the Mexican culture that it slipped into caricature. territory, where it now started being more of a joke about how Mexican they were. And I was like, okay, now it's no longer, oh, there's some little small Mexican jokes in there that are funny. Now it's like, now it seems like you're making fun of them with the truck going da, 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 da. I was like, okay, like that's, they don't do that.
You didn't like that his truck was called the Taco?
I thought that was hilarious. Like it was an enjoyable movie. It had laughs, had things. It just wasn't a good movie. The writing was stale. The acting was stale. Especially the scene like where she was going to the bathroom and then came out just being like, "Woohoo! Oh, my bad. What was that?"
Yeah, no, I will agree with that. Most of what she was a part of, it just felt, yeah,
That
kind of
character was the
flat-faced.
most annoying thing I've ever seen. Not to cut you
But
Yeah.
off,
at the
Zach.
same time, I understand because that's how she was written to an extent. How because they said that kind of in the beginning. She's kind of blunt, flat-faced, zero
But
expression on
no
anything.
one acts like that. It is not a relatable, believable character.
I mean, look, I have a coworker that is almost exactly like that.
No one likable is like that.
I like him. I think he's pretty cool.
You know what I mean?
I'm not
Don't throw
saying
me
I'm
under the bus.
defending this
I'm with
this
Andrew on this one.
fictional
Like
character.
that character to me was the most annoying part about this film.
Yeah.
It was just very predictable. It almost seemed like what was it, Iron Man 2? They fought in the middle. He's like, whoa, what the heck? And then he wins, but kind of, and then later they fight again, and spares him. It was all very predictable. Even when he was going ham on the dude at the end, I was like, he's not.
Yeah.
That's not happening. It would have
Yeah.
been interesting if he did kill him, and now he had to like wrestle with the fact that he's a murderer, which is something he really didn't want to do. That would have been more interesting for
I
character.
would have enjoyed that. I would have enjoyed that. Yeah.
In the second movie, is him like trying to be an adequate hero,
Kind of
thinking he's worthy of being a hero, kind of thing.
like you failed to save like a friend of yours or whatever as a superhero. Pretty much like Andrew Garfield's character all over
Yeah.
again.
Well, I
Mhm.
mean, to be
And the
fair,
next
his
movie's just
family is all
him.
murderers, so I mean, it's
It's true.
like it doesn't.
That
Some
is
of it doesn't
true.
make any sense. Where like he has
Or
this
like
high moral standard of not killing anybody, but his family all of a sudden just doesn't mind killing everybody who's just there, honestly getting a paycheck.
Okay, it only explains his grandmother, and that's it.
that, and that which was wild. Actually, that was really funny.
That was.
But
I thought it was.
he
I
was
thought
like,
it was. That could have been. It was overplayed, in my opinion. It was. It was a
yeah,
funny joke
Yeah.
for like 2 seconds, and then it was felt completely overused for the rest of the film.
yes. But he was like, I'm not gonna kill. And then immediately, the very next fight scene or whatever, I'm like, that's a broken neck. You
Yeah.
just snapped the
That,
spine.
that
Well,
one's dead.
you could
That one's
argue
dead.
that you could argue that with a whole bunch of the fight scenes just by the way that all the energy is coming off of his suit and the way that he's fighting. That a lot of those people are either dead or either paralyzed or some other form of like they're not coming back from this like the same again.
I do love it when like shows or movies do that. The character's like, I don't kill, and then throws them off a building
Yeah.
mid fight.
Well,
It's
at
so
least Batman at least owns it because he's like, I'm not going to kill you. I'm just going to hurt you really, really badly.
I'm just gonna break every limb in your body. It's
I
like
forget
one of
which
those
movie it
threats.
is, but there's this one movie where he like, uh, where he's like holding the burglar over a ledge and he's like, you're not going to let me go. And he's like, no, and drops him. It's like 2 stories. So he breaks his legs. And so it's like, you want to go higher? He's like, no, 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 I'll talk. Like, that's the kind of thing where it's like, that makes more sense. Whereas Blue Beetle's like, I don't want to kill anybody. And then all of a sudden, like everybody's dying around him. The family's like in this giant tank killing people, making it look like a video game. Like, ooh, 20 points. You got that guy.
Yeah, no, I see that. I get that.
So it's one of those questions on where did his morality come from?
Where is the line in like yeah. No, I understand.
And he seems to not only want to kill this OMAC guy. That's the only guy he doesn't seem to want to kill is the OMAC dude for whatever reason. Because he doesn't mind if the lady that looks like I think she kind of the evil Hillary Clinton stand-in, corporate overlord lady gets blown up with the rest of the island, but by God, he's not going to kill the OMAC dude.
He didn't have to in the end.
No, yeah.
Another thing that pisses me off is that the way that this movie could have been, this is the way they introduced Jaime is that, well, the way they introduce later on Blue Beetle into this is like with Ted Kord and Daniel Garrett is that, and they kind of introduce it early on with a whole bunch of writings and all kinds of scans and stuff on blueprints and everything. They could have done something with Booster Gold, and you could either go Batman or the Question. Concerned that you probably didn't want to use Batman after the Flash, I would say the Question would probably be your best bet. But using those two characters who knew Ted Kord, knowing he's gone, have to train his replacement, that could have been something that could have been done really well. And it could have been very interesting to have two characters be reminiscing on the loss of a friend while trying to train this new kid while everything's going down all around him. And instead, we got this.
I can see that. Yeah.
And the Question,
Hopefully, they'll bring it into the next movie with that after credit scene.
I don't know if they're going to, because from what I hear is Blue Beetle, the character is going to be, from what James Gunn has said, the character is going to be the MCU. They didn't say the movie was. So
what was? The character is going to be what?
The character, I think I said MCU. That was my mistake. The character is going to be in the his DC universe, movie universe that he's got going on instead of the. But he didn't say anything about the movie per se. So that's where people are wondering whether or not he's actually going to say whether or not this whole movie is going to be brought in. Because the only real, I think his first movie that he said that is in this universe is Superman. So he hasn't said anything about this movie being a part of the universe. So that's where people are like, is this going to get a sequel? Is it not? Most people are leaning on the side of
You're right.
Not,
we did get a title credit of Blue Beetle will return. We didn't get one of those.
But they also said it for Star-Lord, and Chris Pratt hasn't said anything about actually returning. The only thing he said was, I'll return if they honor the character. And I don't think they're going to honor the character, considering all the stuff they've done previously with other characters. So it's like, I wouldn't take them at their word at the moment.
No, I honestly forgot the DCEU was the thing, just because they've been pushed back or like it's non-existent. The DCEU is non-existent, with the exception of like Superman, Wonder Woman, and Batman.
Yeah.
This EU has not been happening.
They tried playing catch up way too fast, and it bit them. It was essentially a knife in the back for them. I guess the only way they tried to catch up with the MCU, and it did not work out. Not saying I would have liked the Snyderverse after the Justice League movie, because from what I read on what Zack Snyder had plans for in 2 and 3, I wouldn't have been a fan of. But Zach, what do you think about Batman being called a fascist?
Batman being called. Oh, I had completely forgot about that scene.
I thought it was just a crazy uncle line.
Yeah, to be perfectly honest, it's most of what that character said kind of just went over my head. Like I knew he existed, but I was like, not that important.
I got nothing else. I've said my piece.
I know they butchered OMAC, but I haven't read the comic, but I know about it. I know they butchered the character and the whole thing going on with that. So I like how the uncle like gets blown up and then somehow survives.
That too.
Yeah.
Oh, the only scene that had a really, really bad CGI was the afterlife scene. Like the suit in the fighting was all great CGI.
I'll be perfectly honest.
Afterlife scene, and that was so bad.
That scene just reminded me of Black Panther.
It did.
And it's not even
like not good CGI.
it's not even his father. It seems like
Grandfather?
it's the suit kind of hallucinating to Jaime what it wants him to see,
Mhm.
kind of forcing this bond because that's the only logical explanation.
I can get that. Yeah. Yeah.
And the suit is supposed to be evil.
Is
You
it?
you kind of see that in the beginning, very little.
Yeah, but it changes so quickly. And on top of
Yeah,
that, if it was
when he's like, I don't kill people, and then that's the end. That's it. That's the end of it.
I don't kill people.
I also
Pussy.
don't like how the suit sounds like Siri.
That's true.
Yeah.
It also brings up a
I
whole
mean,
bunch of other questions.
it's a symbiote, and yet they did better with Venom.
Yeah. I also don't
I'm
like
like,
how if they were gonna make if they decide to make this suit evil, they didn't explain why if Daniel Garrett ever had these problems with it, is never explained. And you would think with the suit having gone through what Daniel Garrett would have done, because he was a superhero. We got to see his costume in the Blue Beetle cave. You would
yeah.
think he would have rubbed off on the Scarab as well. So, are they saying Daniel Garrett was an evil piece of crap, or is that the suit's? Or does the suit reboot every time it goes to a new? Every time it goes to a new host,
That would
like it's
be
not explained.
Who's to say?
Well,
yeah.
I think the film should have. They should have explained it a lot better if they were going to go that route.
Good point.
Can only do so much.
Yeah, they can only write bad characters for so long.
No, they can't. They'll keep doing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. They wrote it for the whole film.
And they said, that's a wrap.
Yeah,
Put it in theaters right now.
yeah,
But sir, this is just the rough draft.
yeah. Supposedly, after the film, they all went and got tacos.
Is this like this? Is this like the shawarma bit from the Avengers?
Yeah. And they salsa the night away.
This is a nice tango.
Mm-hmm. Having the uncle's horn on blast. Da 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 da. I like how they can't afford their house, but the uncle can afford a truck that has all the spinners and everything.
Well, that's because they worked in a machine shop, and I'm sure he got those on discount. By
Yeah,
those, I mean he probably, when when he was taking them off
Someone
of
came into
someone,
the
he
shop
took
with them,
them.
and he's like, "Ah, man, these are broken. We're gonna have to get you some new ones."
yeah. It's not like you could sell this truck so they could afford the house rent another month or two.
Dude, I thought about that in like the first 30 seconds. As
Yeah,
soon as they brought
but
it up and I saw the truck.
yeah, and it's not like they have at least 3 to 4 working bodies there that could do something. Instead, only Jaime and the sister are able to work, and the sister is lazy and gets them both fired. That character is insufferable.
Yeah.
Heck, in fact, she's the reason why you became Blue Beetle in the first place.
Yes, because she
That
couldn't
is
listen.
true. That is true.
She ruined his life and then laughed, killing a whole bunch of security men along the way.
You were the chosen one. I can just imagine that in my head.
So does anybody else want to talk about any more about this movie?
That was a little man, Zach. Why are we getting your side profile this whole recording?
I have been going through my magic cards.
Incredible.
Yep.
Yeah, next he's got to sort Pokemon.
No Pokemon, only magic.
Did you like the music, Andrew?
Yeah, I don't really remember soundtracks much.
That was the wrong question to ask. Okay.
Unless it's something super memorable for me, like it has to make me remember it. I don't remember soundtracks so much. All right, thank you everybody for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe, and let us know if there's any movies you want us to watch or your thoughts on the movie in general. It's my choice next, and the movie is called Haunting in Venice. It's got Michelle Yeoh from Everything Everywhere All at Once. Probably some other actors. She's the only one I remember off the top of my head. Um, Supposedly a what's that train movie? Not Train to Busan. That's the wrong one.
Bullet
Zach,
Train?
no. What's that train?
Oh,
Murder on the Oriental Express type movie.
yeah, that is the name of the train one.
Supposedly it's like one of those. Looked interesting, so we'll do that.
By the same author and same group of actors.
Oh, sure.
So
Oh, okay.
yep, it's just a continuation to that series.
Because
So same group.
I haven't seen that one then.
Yep.
Do I need to
Um,
see that one before I see this one?
I don't think so. Most of those are standalone books. Um, because every time you go into it, the only character that's really the same is the detective. Everyone else is new. So it's just the detective. So you might miss some things here or there about the detective, but you shouldn't need to watch the other two to understand the plot of the
So it's
movie.
kind of like an Indiana Jones movie.
Yes, kind of.
We'll see you next time on Galactic Reviews.